Hey everybody! This is episode 5 of Aches and Gainz with Doc and Donnie. I am Dr. Hayes Estes. Donnie! What's up, man? How's it
I
going?
feel like being set up here. I never feel comfortable with that, ever. What do you got for me?
What do you mean? What do I got for you?
Oh, I've done this enough. I know what's about to happen.
Donnie.
I don't know what's about to happen,
Donnie.
but I know what's about to happen.
Donnie, important question, Donnie. Do you believe in aliens?
Oh,
Super
you mean
important
like,
question.
like illegal
No,
aliens or
No.
extraterrestrial aliens? You gotta be
Sorry, I
specific,
guess my bad.
all right?
I did not
'Cause
specify.
I do believe in illegal aliens.
Not the ones who are coming to cross the border.
Okay.
The ones who are coming from outer space. Do you believe in extraterrestrial beings?
So we're gonna go straight from.
Well,
that
actually,
to
are you an alien?
something deep? Like, all right, so is this supposed to get deep? Because if we're gonna sit here and say that this is an entire universe, which supposedly, according to science, is still expanding as we talk, is filled with just one little tiny planet with intelligent life, and I use intelligent loosely.
Use that loosely.
I have to
We
say
have a
that's
podcast.
That's very, very just short-sighted, and so yes, I say I would believe there's something out there that has some sort of thought process.
Have you had any sort of encounter that would make you question that we are not alone?
Are you asking me if I've been Cartmaned?
Maybe.
I have not been Cartmaned just yet,
Okay.
so no.
I don't
have
know.
not.
I think you might have just alienated, from no pun intended, a big portion of our
So
audience.
here we go. All right.
So the answer is no.
The answer is no.
What about ghosts? What about ghosts? Do you
I-
believe in ghosts?
No,
Oh, I guess we are done.
I don't.
Okay. All right.
I believe people want there to be ghosts. People
Yeah.
manifest what they want.
Yeah, I agree. There are some things that just can't be explained, and so yeah, I
Sure.
think people say, "Hey, that's a ghost. Must be a ghost." I've only had one. I won't even call it an encounter. When I was growing up, my house, I grew up in a pretty big house at 3 stories. So like our playroom for my little brother and me was down on the bottom floor, and it kind of you had to kind of like go around the corner of the staircase to look in. So my little brother, he was like, I don't know, 8 at the time, or maybe 10. And he went down first, like Saturday morning. It's like, hey, let's go down. We're going to play some video games. So like Saturday morning, he went down one time. And the next thing I know, like he does like a 180, flies back up the stairs right past me. And he's like, ghost! And I'm like, what are you talking about? So he said that he saw a pillow from one of the sofas fly across the room as he was walking into the room. I went into the room after him. I saw that a pillow of the otherwise completely clean and spotless room, a pillow had been was somehow on the other side of the room. And my mother does not allow anything that's going to be resembling something like this dirty.
Dirty, yeah.
And so it cannot be explained.
Well, you're telling me that your brother encountered something that wanted to have a pillow fight with him, and he ran away?
Maybe.
That may have been a spirit just like, please, somebody play with me.
Yeah.
And your brother just shunned him.
Yeah,
What did you do?
I
You
don't
probably put that ghost
Yeah.
through all kinds of therapy that he's probably still in right now.
Well,
you ever think about that?
What do you well, think about what
God.
a 10-year-old boy, a 14-year-old boy, what the kind of disgusting stuff that boys do. I'm sure that ghost is probably like, just give me out of here.
Some more therapy
Get
there?
me the
Yeah.
hell out of here.
Yeah, all right.
I need
fair
out.
enough.
I need
All right.
out. So
So they should have picked a better house. Got it. Okay.
you tell that to my mom.
Oh, wait. Whoa.
Yep, that's right, Mom.
Sorry.
Donnie
Sorry, Miss Estes.
doesn't like.
I'm out of that one.
Yeah.
We don't fight with moms. All right.
No, we don't. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's all you got. All right, that's it. See you guys next time.
This is a great episode.
It's
We're-
going
we-
downhill
we-
fast.
Are we supposed to talk about something important?
I think we're supposed to.
Okay. Well, let's segue. So, I know. I got a great segue. Check this out.
Segue.
So, it's almost Halloween. We're almost in the season
Oh, here
of
we go. I see
Halloween.
what he's going with this.
We are going to talk about
Raising the
seasons. No.
Oh.
And resistance training in season
Oh.
for athletes.
I thought you were going deadlift. Raising the. Okay, cool.
Oh.
I like yours better. Let's go. with that.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So the impetus for this conversation was that you wanted to specifically talk about should athletes perform the deadlift as a part of their training regimen in season. I think you probably were thinking of football players, but you might have been thinking about any athlete.
I'm thinking about it, most any sport that revolves around some sort of ball or rotational movement.
Got it. So why did you want to choose that as a topic?
Well, as the youth sports world starts getting more introduced to strength conditioning, because that is a relatively new thing. Before, it was literally just, let's go bench press in the gym and go run some shuttle sprints on the field. And that seems to be a thing of the past now, which is great. But I don't want the pendulum to swing so far back over that you're endangering young athletes who should be very resilient by doing things too in-depth, too hard, watching too many videos on YouTube, doing this kind of stuff, and taking them out of your goal of keeping the athlete healthy for their in-season competition. And I want to go ahead and say that everything I'm talking about here, and I'm sure the same with you, is based around in-season. Off-season's a totally different animal.
Yeah,
we're talking about in-season while you're playing your chosen sport in whatever capacity. So that's kind of where I want to be, because I think too many times people are trying to say, oh, stronger is better, which is not wrong. But let's keep that for a proper time. An athlete that's playing a sport is not a lifter. They're lifting for a purpose. Mm-hmm. They're not lifting to lift.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah. So, when because I am a doctor of physical therapy.
We talked about that earlier. Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
I need to be abreast of the research, Donnie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I was doing the research for this particular topic, I was a little bit surprised, to be honest with you, what I found in the research. So my initial thought, and not that this really guided the way that I practice, because I see people who have been injured or in pain. And if they're in season, my initial job is to get them out of pain. Yes, I use strength training to do that, but your expertise is more in the area of like in-season training and training year-round for performance.
Yes.
Whereas mine is more like, all right, yes, we are training, but we're training to get out of pain.
Recovery.
So then I can send my patients to somebody like you who can then extend further and work on the performance.
Yep.
So with that said, when I kind of dove in, I found a bunch of studies. So, I'll just I'm quickly go over these because people might just fall asleep right now, and I'm going to try to keep you awake. So, the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, 2003, looked at NCAA football players, tested them one rep max on the bench and the squat. In season, 2 days of strength training in season. They did 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps each day of the bench and the squat. What they saw was that there was actually significant improvement in the squat. There was no change in the bench. And all the athletes trained at or above 80% of the one rep max. So they did this within season.
At a high percentage.
At a high percentage. Mm-hmm. All right, so there's going to be a running theme here. 2006 Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research looked at professional handball players. This is going to be a theme. I don't know why handball players are studied so much, but there are so many GD studies on handball players. I don't get it. Maybe it's because it combines everything. I don't understand.
That's the only thing their sport is known for?
I guess so. The only thing their sport is known for is to be studied.
Sorry about that,
yes.
handball guys.
So professional handball players, 1 to 2 times a week, they did medium to low intensity strength training over 16 weeks, 3 sets of 3 to 6 reps, bench press, 3 sets of 3 to 6 reps of squat. They did some plyometric stuff as well. Significant improvement in jump height, speed over 30 meters, whatever that means, ball velocity, and their bench 1 rep max and the squat 4 rep max went up. Okay. Another Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, 2011. Tested the effect on sprinting performance, because this is now kind of what we're trying to get to, the actual performance within season, and to see if there's any detrimental effects on sprinting performance, again, in the elite handball players. Heavy resistance training twice a week over 8 weeks, bench press, pull over, a half back squat. We'll talk about all this stuff. 80 to 95% 1 rep max intensity, mostly like a 3x3, 3x4 set rep scheme. Increased peak power performance, upper and lower body, increase of 1 rep max, no detrimental effect on sprinting. I'll try to wrap this up. Another Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research looked at eccentric strengthening. They did 1 extra day of in-season training that was just eccentric squats of 4x8 using a flywheel, significant increase in jumping, and a significant increase in the squat. Soccer players, eccentric squat, eccentric leg curl, 1 to 2 days a week, 3 to 4 sets, 6 reps. Injury risk reduced, increase in jumping ability and sprint speed. So
I'm interested in
Woo!
the eccentric thing.
Yes.
That's
So to sum all that up, hopefully the 3 listeners are still awake.
we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Hello,
I'll
come
make
on
it
back.
funny, I promise.
Yep, I know. So I mentioned all of those because and there were many, many more. But the point was that what I came across was that you can successfully train in season on big functional movements, and not only will it not be detrimental to things like sprinting and jumping, it actually has the opposite effect in that it will increase your jumping ability, increase peak power, and increase, or at least maintain sprinting. And they even did eccentrics. So I think the thought process, obviously a couple of things we'll talk to. The thought process that you had was the deadlift is, yes, there's a concentric portion of it, but there's a big eccentric portion of it, right? And so I think our thought process initially was, if we do a ton of eccentric stuff, we might overload or overtrain. And then if I have to come to a quick stop from a sprint, or I got to cut or plant, I'm not going to have the stability or the control or the muscle endurance to basically prevent myself from tearing a hamstring, tearing an ACL.
Yeah, being overtrained. Yeah, for the most part, where the muscles are broken down to a point where they're in a vulnerable situation, possibly.
Yeah.
And that's my thought process, purely based off of objective, or subjective studies and stuff that I've done on athletes that I've worked with and worked around. Not that they were being hurt. It's just in my opinion, the susceptibility maybe was a little bit higher.
Yeah, potentially. So that's why I wanted to describe all those quickly, because I eventually I'll come back to your point. Mm-hmm. The main thing is that with the exception of like the eccentric squat and the eccentric leg curl, and there were like no studies that looked at the deadlift. All these things looked at the bench and the squat, which again are great movements. They're functional. Mm-hmm. Athletes need them, but they didn't look at the deadlift. So I don't know if you have
why.
I don't know. Quick thoughts on that. I have my thoughts. Do you have your thoughts?
I honestly wouldn't understand why they wouldn't. Seeing is one of the big power movements.
Yeah.
I mean, I would if I were in that position, I would think that would be more beneficial to study the deadlift and the bench press for most athletes.
I would agree. Yeah. So because we're talking like all athletes need legs. Not all athletes need upper body.
Yeah,
right.
A lot of the women that I train, unless they're powerlifters, they don't even do bench press. There's no need for it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other exercises you can do to train that area without the barbell.
Potentially football players, maybe baseball players, but that's a whole baseball players are a whole different kind of subset. Yeah. But I think again the point is we talked about the deadlift, and there were little to no studies that actually had the deadlift as its main, the main movement, or the main interventional group. Now they did have there were some studies in there where like as an accessory exercise, RDLs, Romanian deadlifts.
I'm fine with those, absolutely. Yeah. At a lower percentage.
Yeah. So those are more some accessory things. But
for sure.
Yeah, in terms of in-season deadlifting, there just really isn't that much out there. We'll eventually kind of come to our suggestions or points with this, but I want to kind of talk about some other things. Mm-hmm. The other main things that we saw was that the set and rep scheme really pretty low. So 3x3s, 3x4s, at most maybe like some 3x6s. I think there was one I said there was a 4x8, but we're not talking about that many total working reps. The other thing is these were all 1 or 2 days a week. So I think that it's the issue that we're probably thinking about, and that is that we don't want to. I'm not in season. My whole goal is to maintain. Right now, obviously these studies show improvement in things, but the main thing is I got to maintain. My season, whatever it's going to be, is probably at least 16 weeks. Mm-hmm. Well, a baseball player, it's longer. Yeah. Who knows about these weird handball players when they're like 52-week seasons?
Yeah.
Right? But, my whole goal within season is I got to maintain, I got to make it to the end of the season. So what we see here, and hopefully that's probably a purposeful design, is that 1 to 2 days a week, we're not doing many working sets or working reps.
Yeah.
So now,
So that reduces the chance for fatigue and then breakdown from fatigue.
there you go. I knew you were
100%.
here for a
Look
reason.
at that. Are smart, aren't I? Well, I tell you what.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. So the other thing that some of these studies looked at is they looked at traditional resistance training and then velocity based training, where they had
Dynamic,
a certain
yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they had a certain load, and the point was trying to move that load as fast as you can.
Absolutely.
And they did some of those that type of training within season as well.
Yep.
And those studies saw that there was an increase in performance in terms of like the squat 1 rep max, sprint speed, jump height, jump power output. So I think that what we can come to the conclusion is that you can safely train within season.
for sure.
The deadlift is to be determined, but I think if we go by these studies that looked at the squat is as demanding as a lift as a deadlift.
For sure.
Right? Okay.
I would think maybe a little even more on the trunk.
Yeah.
On the abdominals and the front of the abdomen, based off of just the balance of the weight that you have to control. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to caveat this. I agree with dynamic training in season, absolutely, 100%, because dynamic training usually, in fact, not usually, in order for it to be dynamic training, it has to be at a lower percentage. You're not going to be able to move 80%, 90% as fast as you need to, in order to accomplish the goals of dynamic training.
Yeah.
So it's going to be under a lighter load, absolutely. Less chance for injury, more focus on form, and actually moving the weight properly. And I'll even say this: let's say for someone who's training to be for explosive speed, I would say that a high handle trap bar deadlift would be a great exercise for that, because because it's a higher handle, you're in a better position, you're not as far forward, and you're training the movement of jumping and moving like that with the bar there. It's just a bar in your hand. So now, would I say go max out on that? Probably not. It can be done, but it's just the risk reward, in my opinion, is not there. It's just not. If you want to go max out on your deadlifts on off season, absolutely, please, under proper supervision or understanding how to properly move the weight. But in season, it's just not worth it, because maybe there is only a 3% injury risk. But do you want to take that? For what? And that's what it comes down to. For what? If you were accomplishing something, if it was on the field, like I said, if you get injured on the field, that sucks. But at least you're injured doing what you're training to do. Injured in the gym is fun for nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody wins. There's nothing good came of that. So.
Agreed. No, I mean, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It says that the season is about maintenance. Their whole goal is to make it through the season, maximize performance. Train as best as you can, efficiently as you can, leading up to the season, so that you can be efficient and last through the whole season. Just in season is probably not the time. Even though these studies show we had increase in some things, but again, maybe handball players don't go and get all swole in the off season. Who knows?
No, I mean, are they also accounting for like football players who are getting the crap beat out of them on a Sunday or Saturday, and then they're going to jump in the gym Monday and do this?
Yeah.
I highly doubt that.
No. So, man, it's a great segue. It's like you read my mind. So there is some suggestion for people who are injured during the season, or at least the timing of the training. So not only do we only want to do it once or twice a week with relatively low set and rep schemes, but it seems that resistance training within season is okay, can actually help improving strength and explosive power, but we don't want to do it directly after high intensity aerobic workouts, right? We don't want to do it within 48 hours of a game or a match. And so now we can talk about, there's another podcast coming up talking about like the nervous system and fatigue at that point, and whether you can actually get training benefit from that. So so I think we answered the question.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
my end of it is just be smart.
Yeah.
Be smart. Think about the risk reward. Anything you do as an athlete that's not in the gym. I'm not talking about powerlifters. Powerlifters, you have to deadlift. It's part of it's 1/3 of your sport. If you do it, in a full meet. But for a football player, baseball player, you have to be smart, Because, I mean, if you look at baseball, there's 162 games in the MLB season or a normal season. You see the guys who train right, and you see the guys who fall off after 120 games. It happens every season.
You get a bunch of torn hamstrings.
That's right. Torn hamstrings, oblique strains, all the good
lat
stuff.
strains.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And those sometimes happen freak. You can't avoid them 100%. But you see
John Carl was saying. Sorry. What?
Ooh, you just alienated a whole bunch of Yankee fans. Nice job. But
I don't care.
yeah, they're probably not watching this anyways.
Yeah.
Whoever it was is no longer watching. But yeah, you see the people who can make it throughout the season, and a lot of it's genetics, but a lot of it is training. A lot of it is using intellect when you're dealing, being smart, using your off season efficiently, and then maintaining through the season, like you said. So
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to, like I said, there are freak injuries. But I'm going to go one more thing. Troy Polamalu, who was a Hall of Fame
Great
safety,
hair.
whatever,
Great hair.
always injured. That was his Achilles heel. Always injured.
Wait,
I
thought
challenge
his
you.
Achilles heel was dandruff.
Yeah, no.
No?
He
Oh,
did. He had somebody for that. He was good. He
my
paid
bad.
millions to do that.
Sorry.
Go watch some of his training videos when he was playing. I challenge you to that. You're gonna give that little sideways puppy dog look when you see some of the training, and it makes sense that a lot of times he was injured. That's all I'm saying. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know what that means. What?
Still made the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
so who am I?
So I did for you. I wanted to look at the deadlift specifically, and in terms of training and sport performance. So there was one study I found out there that showed a decrease in vertical height, vertical jump height, acutely after performing 5 reps at 85%. And 1 rep max intensity of the deadlift. And so this is lack of evidence of what's called the post-activation potentiation theory.
That's what you're saying.
So, post-activation potentiation theory is where you go and do some heavy squats, and then you go and try to do your vert or some box jumps. So
You're supposed to be
and you're
activated,
supposed to be
warmed
activated
up.
back then. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not. So
I will say, I think the other way around. Conversely,
Yeah.
if you jump and then go to deadlift, I think that maybe makes a little bit more sense than that.
Yeah. Other studies showed basically no change in sprint performance comparing kettlebell swings with eccentric hamstring strengthening. And so one study looked at eccentric overload strengthening for hamstrings and hip extensors in soccer players. Did show an increase in sprint performance, but they only did 1 training day per week. And only 1 set of the exercise. So that's really a small training effect. So point being it's doing the deadlift, especially if I do something right before I'm supposed to go do something plyometric, probably not the best
Probably not
idea.
best.
As far as in training, we've already kind of talked
That
about
also doesn't pass the BS meter as well, because you're going to be fatigued, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now I need to perform at 100%.
Yeah, now I need to
Fantastic.
go and jump through the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta have
exactly. So, lastly, younger, less experienced athletes in regards to general conditioning and barbell experience. These are the people who showed they definitely showed decreases in terms of 1 rep max and some of the sport specific requirements. So basically athletes who don't quite have that baseline strength, those are the ones they did not really respond to this. The athletes who had some of that baseline strength, that barbell experience, who kind of know their way around the gym, those are the ones who we saw the improvement in terms of the performance.
So wait, what you're telling me is the more you know, the smarter you are, the better you
more
perform.
You know. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought. No. Cool. You gonna finish that thought?
I got nothing. I'm good.
Yeah, that's right.
I
On that note,
don't know what to do with my hands.
it's now. We're done, right? Okay. It's now time for everyone's favorite segment, dispelling bro science myths, or pet peeves.
Yeah, what
What are we doing today?
We're doing pet peeves.
We're doing
today.
pet peeves today.
Yeah, we're not,
Donnie came up with a special pet peeve.
Yeah.
So Donnie, this is actually it was going to be a great segue until
you
somebody
screwed it up.
Somebody ruined it. But Donnie, what's your pet peeve today?
All right, so I have a story, and this is a friend of mine, a former friend, but still a friend. I'm still friends with you.
Oh,
You know
okay.
who you are. We were in a restaurant one time wearing a shirt that says, "I don't care what you used to bench" on the back of it.
Oh, I like where this
And then a guy walked up and goes, "Hey man, I love your shirt." And I turned around and said, "Yeah, thanks." And the guy proceeded to tell my friend, "Cool man, back in high school I used to," and we're both like flabbergasted by like literally the shirt says, "I don't care what you used to bench."
Irony. Irony.
So we were, rational. Cool, man. Thanks. Have a great day. But I still remember that story, and I know that guy who said it with me will remember it too. So we don't. It doesn't matter about what your cousins, uncles, friends, brother, whatever it is knows. Most likely,
Al Bundy?
yeah, Al Bundy. Oh yeah, he's reliving glory days. He really actually had no real knowledge base on it. He was passed along probably from someone who didn't know as well. So when you're learning how to exercise, when you're a novice, when you're brand new to this, you might want to do some research on who you're taking advice from, because the beginning of your training life is vital. It teaches you proper technique, proper form, proper frequency of training, these kind of things. And contrary to a lot of belief in a normal gym here, going to failure on everything is not great.
What?
It's not great.
Dude, how else am I going to get swole?
Well, I mean, they have injections for that, like little synthetic oil in there. You're good. Yeah, there's no need to do this stuff anymore. It's just you can be puffy. But yeah, that's my biggest thing. And you see it when people squat, you see it when people deadlift, and this is another thing back for our old thing. Deadlifting with proper form is a completely different thing than hunchback, catback deadlifting. And what ends up happening is you get people who follow people who look like they know what they're doing, maybe, or at least play or speak the part, but they don't actually know it. And I'm not saying you have to hire someone like me to do it. Just be smart. If it doesn't look right, don't do it. So I mean, that's my pet peeve for today. What is your take? And we're going long on this, aren't we? Yeah, we are. No,
I think that was it. I think we're good. Your pet peeve is my pet peeve.
Oh, okay. So I mean, that's really.
I know. I mean, what is my take on it? I think was that what you're going to ask me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, obviously, I agree with you. It's like it's one thing to go into the gym and be eager and want to get better, but sometimes when you see some guy who's over in the corner, regardless of age, but who has like the wrist strap, the elbow strap, like is wearing the bench shirt, slingshot. He's got his weightlifting belt on. Both knees are wrapped. He's got his, Chuck Taylors, and he's over there doing wrist curls. Probably not the guy that you want to go and say, hey, teach me how to squat. So that's just do a little research.
Sure.
The internet is mostly a good thing, other than where Donnie goes.
YouTube? Oh, you mean the other you? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah,
the one you have to use the incognito window
for. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have got nothing to say to that. Erase, never even have it.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So, do a little research. The answers are out there, just like aliens.
Oh, full circle. All right.
I just came up with that. We should stop talking.
On that, we're going to go ahead and cut this one down. All right, guys. I'm going to take over for that one. All right. I'm going to go ahead and tell you where I'm at. All right. So you can find me on Instagram /Donnie Kiernan and the Facebook Strength and Performance Institute. See, I did it right. I'm not talking about me now. I'm talking about my company. That's great, isn't it? Look at I learned. I can be taught. Hayes, where can you be found?
Well, all right. Good. My name is Dr. Hayes Estes. I am the owner of Premier Physical Therapy and Sports Performance in Clearwater, Florida. Type that into Facebook. It'll come up. Here we go. We're on Instagram as well at Run. I'm doing it longer today.
That's what she said.
Tampa Bay. Run Tampa Bay. Episode 5. Out.
We're done.
All right. Yep. Come on. I'm ready to go. Okay. Scene.